joy that exists in life, for all the sorrow, for all of the things in the world and things in other worlds that we can't even comprehend. For everything from waking life to the dream world, there can only be one source. For all of the things that are part of my life, I am truly grateful. God can be seen as many things through the many different eyes. Somehow, God is doing everything at once, and the entire universe somehow operates harmoniously. Whomever or whatever is the source of all that I see, touch, feel, taste, and smell means everything to me, and I will never give up my appreciation of it. I have a great understanding of God from church when I was younger, and social exchanges and religious studies in college. This understanding is always growing and changing. I have seen miraculous things and been led into the most divine circumstances. My art gallery, Pangea, is an example of the great things that God has done in my life. God exists in many forms and can be infinitely imagined. This is God we're talking about here. God is the greatest thing that anyone can know. Imagine God sitting there with nothingness around it, just sitting there, and he begins to create a universe. And he's somehow creating this whole universe. There's nothing around. It's quite an imaginable sight. If you really, the whole universe was created somehow. And there's this one guy that's wow. It's pretty crazy. But nonetheless, after a while of living, you would imagine this entity, this God, however it exists, you would imagine it beginning to ponder its own existence. God then would realize that he must have been created by something greater than himself. When God realizes this, he looks for his creator as God. Once God realizes that there's a God that created him, he would then ask this question: well, how was it that you came to be God? You didn't just pop out of nowhere. The God of God would then have to say, I must have been created by a source greater than me. Then God of God would ask its God how it came to be. And then the third God would say, well, there's a greater entity than I. And eventually a giant fractal of God created through this godly paradigm, which shows us the true source of God's existence on many different levels. What's wild, all of this thought process comes back to the original thinker who first asked the question: is there a God? The only way that the voice, image, or ideas of God reaches the masses is by having a human entity asking that question. How did I come to exist? Who is God? The answers to those questions are what have been presently come to be known as religion. All of the religious texts that we have created upon earth, as beautiful as they are, no matter what, they have one thing in common. They were created and written by the minds of humans. Knowing this, one must realize that a link to God can be found within. In a book created by Dorian Virtue, Ph.D., for a deck of Ascended Masters oracle cards, Virtue explains the connection to the various entities that one can find within. According to Virtue, Ascended Masters are great spiritual teachers and healers, most of whom lived upon this earth. Here is what she says about some of those Ascended Masters. Jesus' message of love and forgiveness was profound and led to many demonstrations of miraculous healing. Call upon Jesus for help healing yourself and others emotionally, physically, or mentally. Krishna is the 8th incarnation of Vishnu, who is one of the 3 Hindu gods that oversees and protects Earth and her inhabitants. Kuan Yin the beloved Buddhist goddess of compassion, means she who hears all prayers. All of these spiritual masters mentioned in the Ascended Masters Guidebook are aspects of God that have been manifested into reality. Whatever it was that brought all the religions in the world, all of the people, all of the good energy that they have created in peace and love, all of that must truly be the source of God. God is as infinite as the human mind, and that is obvious if one looks throughout all of the religions, and that is why I'm so impressed. God exists in everything, Allah. The term for God in Islam literally means everything. The term Allah was first written in Hebrew by a human being. I guess my biggest question that I have to ask God is, how do you get into the minds of all and soul of all of humanity, and how do you manifest yourself into reality? And this is what I hear God tell me as I'm creating this speech and I ask this question. All that has been manifested of me is a reflection of my divine love for existence as all of creation. And yes, there is something greater than me. It is you. Well, you mean that much to me. Anyways, especially if we can connect on this intimate of a level. I would hope that you feel the same, with a little smiley face. And God has many forms, all of which can be found within perception. That is the beauty of God and the greatness of life. Absolutely everything that exists can be attributed to God, even your dreams. God, whomever it is, all the things that are included, that is what I would like to pay tribute towards. I wouldn't know how to fully give my gratitude. The best that I can do is thank God and say that it is an honor to be of this creation. I would like to thank God and all the people that are listening to this speech, and all of the individuals that listen to the God within themselves throughout history, because without them we would have no picture or ideas of God. I take aim to the heart of God with all of my love and pray that the light shines to you, reflecting all of the divine attributes of the greatest thing that anyone could ever imagine and comprehend, the entity that we call God.